I'm a guy that's 24. Each day I build some more. I like episode 7 and episode 8. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back with another video, and this is going to be a legendary episode of collecting every minifigure in LEGO Star Wars. I've had some pretty incredible episodes up until this point, but none of them get any better than this. Some of you might know what I'm talking about, others, you'll just have to stay tuned and see. But this series is, just as the title says, I'm trying to collect every single minifigure made for LEGO Star Wars. This does include the more rare figures like the Cloud City Boba Fett and the Chrome Gold C-3PO. This does not include the minifigs made of rare earth minerals like the Bronze Boba Fett or the Solid Gold C-3PO. To get things started off this week, I got some relatively rare figures. This is a group of minifigs from the original Sandcrawler set from 2005. So over to the left, we have Uncle Owen, and I actually really like this figure. I think it's usually the case that when it comes to figures that have been updated, I usually prefer the updates, but as with most of the figures in that Sandcrawler set, really just this guy and Luke, there was just way too much facial detail going on. It was just a bit much. So I honestly kind of prefer this figure. Like, I think the torso, and I'm pretty sure the Uncle Owen in the newer set had leg printing. I'll just assume he does, even if he didn't. Like, there's certainly more detail in that, but this is, I think, just a much better representation of him. Like, this would be a fine figure, I think, if they just added actual eye pupil detail. But other than that, for 2005, this was an outstanding figure, honestly. If we can turn him around, he doesn't have any back printing, which honestly wasn't necessary. He's in a pretty bare, just tan robe, but this works for him. The only one thing I'd say that would make this figure even better is for him to have not the just classic Lego hair. I think I probably prefer the hairpiece they use for him in the updated UCS Sandcrawler set. But other than that, super glad to add this thing to my collection. All these figures are actually exclusive to that 05 Sandcrawler set. Next up is the original Jawa figure. There hasn't been a ton of changes between this and the newest ones. They've just basically added more detail to the torso. Everything else is mostly the same, whether it be the hood, the style of the head, the short cape and brown, the short legs, like all of that is still mostly the same for the Jawa. But this torso print and I think the head print might be slightly different on these older Jawas, which makes this thing unique to that original Sandcrawler set. It was such a long time before we got a Jawa in the set. 05 is when we got it, and it was still a pretty long time until we got our next batch of Jawas. In fact, I think we didn't get another Jawa until the next Sandcrawler set. Of course, now we've gotten the Jawa Battle Pack, but at the time, like, this was a pretty rare and exclusive figure, so it's nice to have the OG Jawa in my collection now. And I like the Jawa minifigs in general. I think the hood with the black headpiece and there's just piercing glowing eyes work really well for these figures. Next up, we have what LEGO calls the Treadwell droid. This is just one of the mini droids that came in the set that the Jawas are trying to pawn off on Uncle Owen and Luke. And I mean, there's not really much to say about this, as a quote-unquote exclusive as this one and even the R1G4 is. You could really just build these droids. I don't think any of these parts are exclusive to this set, so if any of you just want these droids, you could probably build them with just spare parts in your collection. Not a big deal, but it was a pretty decent design for back in the day. Not honestly much to talk about even with this one or the next one. This is R1G4, I believe, and it's just a pretty basic looking droid. And like I said, I don't think any of these parts are exclusive to this set, so you could easily rebuild these. You're not at the mercy of trying to find one that came from the original Sandcrawler set to complete the droids from the set. But a pretty good lineup of figures here. I never got that original Sandcrawler set, so it's honestly pretty cool to see a lot of these actually here in my possession. Next up, we have a group of figures from the 2013 Mandalorian Speeder set. We have two Mando Super Commandos and the Robo-Legs Darth Maul. These figures are surprisingly expensive now. I wasn't really planning on getting all three of these together. Honestly, just would have been fine with either one of these right now, because I just wanted one in my collection. Saw them in the new Mandalore episodes of the Clone Wars, and I was like, I actually should probably just go ahead and grab at least one of those figures. And when I started running the numbers, like the price that I was finding for these figures, like it got so high. Like these are like, I think $12, $13, maybe $17 each, and the Darth Maul's like a $15 to $20 figure. So I was just like, maybe I can find all of these just cheaper if I bought the set. And that's actually what ended up happening. I just bought the set used from eBay for a total of $50 free shipping, and I was able to get all 3 of these figures and the parts for the set, which made a lot more sense than trying to buy every individual figure by itself. So we are definitely seeing the increase in prices for minifigs for these Clone Wars episodes that have come out. Like, it's honestly getting kind of crazy right now. If you guys have seen even the prices of the Rebels Ahsoka, it's going for insane prices right now, as is Rex from the Clone Wars. Like, I mean, if you've already gotten those figures, like, hats off to you, but if you want those, I'd say hold off. I mean, the prices probably won't stay this high, but right now is not a good time to be buying these Clone Wars figures. Who would have thought, honestly? But in terms of the detail on these figures, I think these are actually really nice. They're such unique looking Lego Mandos. Like, no other Lego Mandalorian looks like this. These are actually 2 distinct figures. They're not the exact same one, and it's because of the face print. This one has, I don't know, just what I describe as the typical Lego Mandalorian face, and this one has the same face basically, but a different expression. So that was kind of cool that even under the helmets they made a point to give us unique faces for these guys, which is more than we can say for any of the troops we get nowadays. They just throw angry clone face on them and they're good to go. But I like the detail in the helmets. I think it looks great. Torso detail also looks good. I love the jetpacks in this gunmetal gray color. It looks awesome all around. Like, these are 2 very nice minifigs. I think leg printing is probably the only thing that could really just set these figures over the top. But in the terms of this set, I think they were great. And then we move over to the Clone Wars Darth Maul with robo legs, and this figure conflicts me. I think that the torso print and the arm print is awesome. I honestly didn't even know this figure had arm printing until I actually got this thing in my possession. And I think that's awesome. I love that they did that. Like, that is so freaking cool. If there ever was a figure where it was just extremely appropriate for them to throw arm printing on it, it was this guy. So I like that they did that. The only thing I don't like about this figure is, of course, the face. Surprise, surprise. I think the movie-styled Darth Maul face looks infinitely better than this one. And it's kind of a shame because I think the rest of the figure actually looks really good. But that face print, I'm just not a fan of at all. But to show you an even closer look, he has back printing as well. He just press printing all around his body, which is fantastic. I like the fact that Lego attempted to include a Darksaber. Obviously, the Darksaber is more of a flat blade look, but I mean, it was cool that they at least tried to incorporate that. This is what we've got so far when it comes to Lego depictions of the Darksaber. And finally, we have the single greatest minifigure that has ever been created by Lego. That is not hyperbole. I am not exaggerating this one bit. This figure is truly incredible. It is the most beautiful thing that I've ever bestowed my eyes upon. It is everything right with the world. And I'm super excited to show you guys that I finally have a black-haired Kanan. Oh my god. This thing is awesome. Like, all jokes aside, it's a pretty awesome looking figure. I thought that they did a really good job just with the design of his torso and the leg print. He has a strap that goes across his chest. One arm is olive green, one arm is dark green, and it's just a good looking figure in general. It's a pretty good representation of Kanan, I guess, except for the fact that he has black hair. But that's what made this figure special. If you guys don't know the story behind this figure, the actually accurate Kanan figure has dark brown eyes, brows, a dark brown beard, and dark brown hair. However, when Lego initially made the figure, they gave him the black hair, black eyebrows, and black beard. This was in the Ghost set from 2014, and I think like 6 months into production, they just swapped it. They just said, oh, let's just go ahead and actually make this accurate. So the first runs of the Ghost had this one in it, and then the future runs had the dark brown one. And that's actually the more common one. Like it's honestly kind of hard to find these, but the dark brown ones aren't as difficult to find. So this figure goes for some insane prices online. I actually got pretty lucky. I wasn't planning on buying this figure for the ridiculous prices that people were asking for. I was hoping to find some sort of a deal, and I was pretty happy with what I found. Basically, there was a seller on eBay who had one for $100 or best offer. So I just submitted an offer of $60, which I guess is a bit of a low ball for a figure like this, but I was pretty desperate, man. And they responded back with a counter offer of $65, and I was just like, absolutely. So I went ahead and ordered this. It had free shipping, and it came in, and I was just extremely happy. Like, I found out that this figure was so expensive on a live stream. Shout out to my guy Trevor for alerting me about this thing, and ever since I was just on a watch. I was vigilantly searching for a good deal for a black-haired Kanan, and now I finally have it. This is the peak of this series. I'm sorry to inform you guys, but it really doesn't get much better than this. But rather than be sad about the future, let's just go ahead and enjoy the moment. All right, the figures have been placed. Now let's take a look at the wall. Up here is where the bulk of those Sandcrawler figures are. I was kind of surprised to see that it was right actually next to Burnt Anakin, which brings back some memories because that had to have been one of the first figures I got from the episode 3, the original episode 3 Wave of Lego Star Wars sets, which was really when I started hardcore collecting Lego Star Wars. But so you can see we got most of the figs here. I do still need, I think there's like the R4 droid, I don't know if the R2 is exclusive, and there's a few other droids I need to get here that are exclusive to this set, but they're all simple droids, ones that aren't difficult to put together, which is really the biggest reason I haven't bought them. I plan on just assembling them with parts that are already in my collection. But that Uncle Owen figure, man, that's the best Uncle Owen. There's only 2 of them, but in terms of, you know, not going crazy with detail, I think this one is actually a bit superior. It works fine for Uncle Owen. Next up are the Maul and Super Commando figs. These are over here next to the Clone Captain from the 2013 gunship. And you can see Maul is really tall. He barely fits in the allotted space, so he kind of has to lean forward there, but not a big deal at all. And then we got the other 2 Super Commandos chilling next to him. And then right below them, we have my boy, black-haired Kanan. He's looking pretty incredible. I actually love the fact that he's next to Harrison Dula. The other Kanan, the inferior Kanan, is over here all by himself because he doesn't have black hair or a black beard. But this one over here, this is the real deal, man. Finally got myself a black-haired Kanan. One thing that I actually kind of neglected to mention earlier is just a little bit more information about this figure. The thing that actually makes this exclusive is the face print. That black hair comes on other figures, including Bodhi Rook, actually, from the Rogue One sets. And come to think of it, he actually kind of looks like an imposter black-haired Kanan himself. But it's just that face print that is exclusive because it has the black eyes and the black beard. It's pretty much identical to the like face print that's on the dark brown version, but the eyebrow and beard color are both different, obviously. But that's really it for today's minifig wall update, guys. I hope you were fine dealing with a bit of a clickbaity title, because I'm actually super happy about having the black-haired Kanan figure in my collection. That is just awesome to me. So things are looking pretty good. I mean, my goal that I set out was to make that top section look like the bottom section, and it's honestly looking almost more full than the bottom section, which is crazy to think about considering where we started. So honestly, what I might start doing is focusing on more figures for this section right in here. This is kind of that 2010 to 2014 era. And there's some sets that I just didn't get that I need the figures for in here. And I think we can have a much more full looking total wall. If I'm panning from the top to the bottom, it's really this middle section in here that looks too bare. And then of course the bottom looks good and the top's looking good as well. So that's gonna finish things up, guys. If you like what I do, go ahead, support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.